Assalamualaikum, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5, and in this explanation is discussing the most common teaching and classroom management technique or strategy that classroom teacher use to cope with multiple level is the aims from a large classes is to teach large classes more effectively. Some teachers define large as too many students to learn names by the end of the term of semester. Whether something feels like a large class is partly a matter of the resources put into teaching and of the skill employed by the teacher. A large classes is one with more students than a available facility can support. For our purpose, we should get that a large classes is one that feel large. The class is significant large than you are used, and the resources can no longer cope with the number of the student if you desire individual attention for the student. What is large class is depend a lot on what you are familiar. This is the first one is one-to-one teaching, and there is a very small class like a 2 to 6 student and a small classes 7 to 13 student, and a standard classes is 14 to 25 student, and a large classes is 29 to 45 students. A very large classes is more than 45 students. Many school class fall into the large category, so in some countries it may be normal to have even bigger groups. A teacher may have to teach a 70 to 90 and in a single class. Each size calls for slightly different teaching approach to from for all of them. The same basic teaching skill will be more important than any change caused by the group size. Here there are 6 techniques you working with a large classes. The first one is don't feel that you can only do teacher led or woo class teaching. Uh, Second is make sure that know that you know them all. And the third is create them for managing material efficiently. And number four is take a long hard look at the room. And number five is training student in how to be organized. And number six is don't get stuck at the phone. First one is some teachers feel that because they have such a large number, they can only set up from teaching approach. So the second is make sure that you know them all. This is one thing of missing in large classes is the sense that the teacher really know you and is interested. So the short is create system for managing material efficiently. Here, the larger your class, the more likely it is that material will become a problem. Maybe you don't have enough coursebook, so students have to share. If you use handouts, you have to prepare how quantities. Just to distribute them around the room can seem like a major operation. So number four is take a long hard look at the room. Don't assume that the class has to look uniform and adult. Can you improve the use of speech to make it feel more welcome and less crowded? Would it help to get rid of the traditional row? Possible to create some open space in the room for meeting up, or movement, or milling, or sitting on the floor, and so on, and make sure that students who have difficulties with hearing or seeing are placed so that they don't have problem. Number five is train student in how to be organized. some class time to training students to be more organized and learning to learn, showing them the way to become more autonomous and less depends on the teacher telling everything. Get routines in place for starting lesson and for studying up to the end. So the last is don't get stuck at the front. Even more than with a small classes, it is vital that you make use of the whole room. Move about a lot. Don't input instruction and explanation from lots of different places. Have lots of conversation with various individual. But remember that if you come up close to the individual and talk quickly, uh, there is so many classes within the class. How about getting for our five very different classroom within the classroom or clumping group of sit there in different way to make spread Islam for working subgroup. So number 8 is don't spend all your time getting up in discipline issues. Sometimes there is so much going on in large class that the teacher seems to have to spend all his or her time dealing with micromanagement of discipline problem. Number 9 is offer private contact time in large classes. Students can feel that they never get the chance to talk privately with the teacher. For this way, offering specific time when any student who wants to contact with you, this could be for half an hour after school once a week or even within lesson time, perhaps an in lesson so every week with when you set a quiet task. I'm sorry, there are six technique you in this working with large classes.
The next slide is about a technique that can be implemented in classroom support. There were three techniques. The first is teaching assistants. An assistants are people who can help teacher with basic classroom management, such as distributing handouts and organizing sitting chains. Also, can help in supporting specific members of class, like students who have specific problems. Then the second is students deputies is the teacher appoints students to help both administratively and academically, either in the period of each semester or at each meeting, such as the leader of discussion or the leader of class. Then the third is students monitors. The teacher allocates students' role to help in getting class organized and running efficiently. For example, materials monitors then distributes books, handouts, or worksheets. And the next slide is about common strategy in managed discussion in large class. There were five strategies that can be used in managed discussion in large class. The first strategy is group or pair work, and the second strategy is usual class activity, and the third is giving lectures. It means that the teacher give an instructional talk to the students, and then the fourth is role play or oral presentation, and the last is use storytelling.
Okay, next is common management strategy. There are four common management strategy. First is establishing classroom roles. Second is creating a friendly classroom atmosphere, learning students' name and organizing sitting plans, and then the last is using student leaders. First is establishing classroom roles. Here, a teacher can make a role for the classroom. We can the teacher can use pair work or group work. And then creating a friendly classroom atmosphere. The teacher is being a friend to others. It's not really being a teacher that yes, like that. And then the third is learning students name and organizing seating plans. Here teacher can use U-shape or for students pair and etc. And the last is using student leaders. Here teachers can ask one of students in a group to be a captain to lead each friends in discussion or in learning process. And then there's a link to go to YouTube, and there's a example how to teacher manage a large class. Next is problems face teachers of large classes. Watson says teachers of large classes often face problems in teaching strategies, management skills, ways to build good students interaction, and friendly student-teacher relationship. Teacher teaching feedback and evaluation, also marking students' papers. Yeah, there are problem faced teacher of large classes by Watson. And there's a link to go in some website that is some complete explanation about problem in large classes.
Here there is some news from the it is news. You can look from the link.
Okay, thank you for your attention, guys. If you have a question, just drop question in comment, and thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.